Hello, Captains! This is the Doctor, and this is Star Trek Online, and this is the Theseus Class Temporal Escort Tier 6 Starship Review. Let's go. Captains, this is the Doctor, and as you saw in the introduction, I've got the Theseus Class Starship ready to review for you today. This one is quite exciting. I am very excited to bring this ship to you because I am doing a lot of damage in this ship. If you saw my previous review, you saw that I did the Sagittarius Class cruiser. Now that of course is a cruiser and it can be very powerful, but it is slow turning and you make it a beamboat, right? Well, this is a temporal escort. This is the 26th century version of the temporal escort, as that was a temporal cruiser. This is a temporal escort. This is the tactical or escorty version of what the 26th century ships have to offer, the Theseus class. And as you can see, it's a beautiful starship. The design is perfect. It's exactly what you want out of an escort. It looks good, and it is incredibly maneuverable, and I mean incredibly maneuverable. Also, it's powerful. You can deck this thing out really, really nice to do a lot of damage in Star Trek Online. Now, it can, of course, support beam weapons, so you could make it a beamboat if you wanted, but I went the cannon route on this one just to be a little different. It does, of course, support cannons, dual heavy cannons, and that's the route that I went today with this starship. Now, before we get into all the combat and everything, let's read about this starship. It is a C-Store ship. So we'll go to Ships Tier 6, and we're going to go down here to Temporal Escort Theseus Class. A futuristic take on the Perseus class of the 23rd century, the Theseus class escort utilizes an advanced science suite along with tactical systems. These powerful instruments augment the temporal weaponry found on board the vessel, making its stout offense even stronger in battle. Temporal starships are capable of making subtle alterations on the molecular level through the use of the molecular reconstruction. So this bit here we're going into is very similar to every temporal starship. It has the molecular deconstruction beam. I'm not even going to read all about that because I've gone through pretty much the molecular reconstruction beam so many times in reviews. I've done a lot of temporal starship reviews, so I'm just going to quickly go over this and say that there's a defensive configuration, an offensive configuration, support configuration, and then you enable whichever one you want. You go into battle, it builds a counter, and then you can fire off the molecular deconstruction beam. This is basically extra weaponry on the ship that does not take up a console slot at all. So it's pretty cool. The Tier 6 Temporal Escort comes equipped with the Temporal Rift Warhead Universal Console. When this console is activated, your starship will launch a warhead at your target. Upon impact, the warhead will cause heavy physical damage and create a hazardous temporal rift. Enemies trapped in the rift will suffer additional physical damage over time, have their flight speed reduced, and have a chance to periodically be held. It provides a passive bonus to directed energy weapon damage and critical severity. And it can be equipped on Temporal Escort variants. And then, after achieving level 5 in your Temporal Escort's Tier 6 Starship Mastery, you will unlock the Designated Target Starship trait. While this trait is slotted and you kill a target affected by your focused assault ability, allies within 5 kilometers of the defeated target will gain a moderate hull heal and damage boost. This has plus 15 power to weapons, plus 5 power to engines, can load dual cannons, and has the Starship Ability Package Escort. You get the Precise Weapon Systems, Tactical Maneuvering, Enhanced Weapon Systems, Devastating Weaponry, and then the Starship trait Designated Target. Now what this bit of info here is not telling you are all the meaty specs. So what I'm going to do is read from a different page I have on a different monitor here and read to you the specs of this starship really quick. So we have a hull strength at level 50 of 36,000. So the hull strength on this ship is not that high. It is an escort, and as such, people sometimes call these type of ships a paper escort, or the hull is as thin as paper. This is one of those starships where it may feel a little bit like you are easy to blow up, but you can do a lot of damage in turn. So it's a 36,000 base hull at 50. Shield modifier is 0.95, so it doesn't even hardly have much of a shield modifier. It has 4 forward weapon slots and 3 aft. It has 2 device slots. It has an ensign tactical seating, a commander tactical seating / temporal agent, so you could have a commander temporal agent seating on this. Has 1 lieutenant engineering / temporal agent, 1 lieutenant commander science, and 1 lieutenant commander universal. So 2 lieutenant commander stations, one being science but the other being a universal one. So again, just like the Sagittarius, this has a very flexible bridge officer seating, and you can have temporal agent powers on here all the way up to commander level, which is quite nice. So very flexible seating on this. That's part of what makes this a very powerful ship, is that you can design this ship in many different ways and have many different kinds of builds with this type of ship. For consoles, you have 5 tactical, 2 engineering, 3 science, so heavy on the tactical, only 2 on engineering. So like I said, a bit of a paper escort. And then it does have 3 science consoles. The turn rate is 16, so it's good. Impulse modifier is 0.2. It has plus 15 to weapon and engine power. And then, of course, the Starship Ability Package, which we will go over here in just a second. So, looking at the specs of this starship, what we gather is that it can do a lot of damage, but you do have to be careful to not take a lot of damage. You need to be careful because you cannot tank all the damage that a cruiser can. So you need to fly in, do your damage, and fly out. This is the kind of ship where maneuverability is paramount, because you need to move around a lot. The faster you move and the more you move, the higher your defense is, and defense is going to be very important with a ship like this. The less the enemy can hit you, the better you are and the better chance you have of staying alive. But let's just look at the aesthetics here real quickly. This, of course, is the default configuration of the ship. This is what it looks like when you get it, the default skin and everything. I like the way the saucer is shaped. It's not exactly an oval. It is more, I guess it is an oval. It's not a circular is what I meant to say. It's more of an oval. So the exact opposite of what I said. It's not a circle. It is more of an oval. It kind of reminds me of the Voyager hull a bit, except it's not as thick. It's more pancaked. It's more flat. But that is typical design of 26th century starships. Very thin, very flat pancake look. But I do like it. It's very pointed. So you know when you're pointing, it's almost like an arrow. It's almost like an arrow you're pointing at your enemy. And when you point it at the enemy, you know where it's going to attack. You know where it's going to hit, where it's going to fire. I also like the way the nacelles taper in toward the saucer. If you look at this, see how the nacelle edge here tapers inward toward the hull. That just helps point the ship. It gives it a pointed direction. You point it at the enemy and you know where it's going to fire. And that's why I really like forward firing on this ship. And that's why I use cannons. Now, of course, you could use beams, no problem at all. But with cannons, I feel like I can easily point this ship at the enemy, and that's where all my cannon fire is going to hit. So it's really cool. I like that design element of it. The nacelles are more like sleds. They're not raised upwards, but they're kind of parallel, a little bit below the hull, actually. A little bit below the saucer, but not too much. The top of them is like parallel with the edge of the saucer. It's almost like it's riding on sleds. And it has a nice feel in space as you fly it and maneuver it around. It looks really cool. It's just got a very simple, sleek, thin, aerodynamic look to it that I find visually appealing. This is a visually appealing ship that I enjoy. So the visuals of it, I definitely have to give an A+. They've also got that 26th century circuitry by maybe some kind of biology design on here where it's like alive or something. It's really cool the way that's integrated in there. It just looks really, really futuristic, and I like that. So it's a really good looking ship. Just absolutely a good looking ship. So wow, absolutely good. So here you can see my power level. I'm at 125 weapon. I got 91 shield, 70 engine, and 58 auxiliary is my current power level. Now I am going to bring my build up so we can just take a quick look at what I'm running on this ship before we go into combat, so that you know what I'm actually firing off when I fire. And like I said, this current build, I am doing a lot of damage. Now, that said, this build was made once again prior to the big space update that they had recently, where they revamped all the space powers and have nerfed some things, and things are quite a bit different in space power levels. This build was made before that, but I have still found that even after that update, this ship is still doing quite a bit of damage. However, I do feel like I'm blowing up more than I was before. I don't think it takes damage as well as it used to, but it's certainly dealing plenty of damage with this current build. Now, of course, you can build the ship any way you want, so please remember, this review is not about the build of my ship or the consoles or weapon choices that I made, or the bridge officer powers, or the skills, or any of that. This review is not about that stuff. This review is about the ship itself, the starship trait, and the unique console. It's about showing off the abilities of this ship and what it can do for you, and maybe you will think of some interesting, cool ways to build this ship. So here we go. I'm going to bring everything up right now. And yeah, my inventory is completely full. That's par for the course. So here is what I'm running, and we'll go over all that in a second. But let's look at the Starship Mastery unlocks. I do have all of them unlocked, of course, on this ship. So let's see what they are. With the first one, you get an accuracy, plus 5% accuracy. With the second one, you get a +5 defense rating. And like I said, defense is important on this ship. You get enhanced weapon systems on the third, which is +10% kinetic damage and +10% energy damage. And then the fourth one, you get +2.5% critical chance. So no severity, but a chance there. But remember, the console adds severity. So in a way, you do get severity, extra severity on the ship through the unique console. Then you have the starship trait, which is called Designated Target, and it says, killing a focused assault target grants damage, buff, and heal. If a target of focused assault is destroyed while active allies within 5 kilometers of enemy gain target, recover 20% max hull hit points, target plus 10% bonus all damage for 15 seconds. Now, in order to use this trait, you have to use the Focused Assault ability. It's a bridge officer ability, and you need the training manual for it. And it is only activatable, this trait will only activate when you activate physically that bridge officer ability. And if you're wondering about a Focused Assault and where you get Focused Assault, first of all, don't confuse it with Focused Frenzy. Even though there is a Frenzied Assault option on Focused Frenzy, the Focused Assault is not Focused Frenzy. So even though they sound very similar, those are two very different powers. The Focused Assault ability that this one is talking about comes from a mission called Butterfly. So if you go to your missions under the Iconian storyline, this is the Iconian War storyline, there is a mission in here called Butterfly. When you play Butterfly for the first time, you get the training manuals for Focused Assault. So you need to play all the way to Butterfly to get those Focused Assault training manuals. That is how you get them. They are not in the exchange, and they are not in the Bridge Officer training guy on Earth Space Dock. They are not there. You have to play this mission Butterfly to get them. So it's very unique in that way. And then, once you activate the ability, and here it is on my hotbar, I do have it so that we can test this out. Once you get it, then of course you got to assign a button. And then once you activate this, that's when the trait will work. If again, you kill the enemy with this enabled. So you have to have killed the enemy with Focused Assault enabled for the trait to work. So several steps have to be taken in order for that last starship trait to actually work. I'm not quite sure that it's worth it given that complexity. Seems a bit much just to have a starship trait work for you. I wish it was more of it worked without having to use Focused Assault. But it is tied to Focused Assault, and that is the only way you can use it. So if you don't use at all in your build a Focused Assault ability, period, then the starship trait is going to do nothing for you. If you do use the ability, then it will work for you. But I went for a long time on this build not having the Focused Assault Bridge Officer ability, and so I wasn't benefiting from the starship trait. Honestly, I didn't really notice any difference. And I think that's the important thing here, is that I did not notice any difference with the starship trait and without the starship trait in my battles. I really don't notice any difference. But anyway, I have it activated now so that we can, show it off and I can demonstrate it to you all. But just know I did not see any difference with or without it. So I don't feel that it's a very important starship trait in the scheme of things. But anyway, that's what you get. Okay, so as you can see, my current build is all Epic Mark 14. I am using some unique weapons I've never used before on this starship, and that's part of what is making me very powerful. I am using Delphic anti-proton weapons. So this is Delphic Expanse weapons. I believe you get these from the Lobi store, or I got them from somewhere. But I'm trying to recall where. I really can't remember where I got them from. It might be the Lobi store. It might be somewhere else. But wherever you get them, that's where I got them. It was so long ago now, I can't remember where I got them. But I did, and I got to tell you, I'm really liking... Oh, I know what it was. I think it was one of the consoles I had to get or something. I don't know. It was something. I got to tell you, though, I really like... It was No, not that one. I got to tell you though, I do really like the Delphic anti-proton weapons. So yeah, this is an anti-proton build. It is cannons. These are Delphic anti-proton dual heavy cannons up front, and then I do have an advanced radiant anti-proton dual heavy cannon from the reputation, from the Iconian reputation. This is part of the Radiant Armaments, which I do have. I've got the Quantum Torpedo Launcher. I've got the Radiant Anti-Proton Energy Weapon, the Sustained Radiant Field, which gives me Radiant Field Projector, and Radiant Hypercharge. A very good set in combination together with the Iconian set, which is, of course, very good on an escort, and the Delphic Anti-Protons. Here's what I like about the Delphic Anti-Protons. Check this out on the description. Delphic anti-proton weapons have a chance to drastically increase your critical chance and critical severity for a short time. That's what I like about these. So, trying to make and do the most damage that I can, on this ship, I like these weapons. They do that. So they increase my crit chance, crit severity, and that just, really helps me do more damage. Pretty much, simple as that. And then, of course, I have the Iconian set, as I mentioned. The Iconian set really is the best thing for an escort. It has this ability called Radiant Subatomic Pulse, which increases your all damage for 30 seconds, plus 33% all damage for 30 seconds, and maximum hull and flight speed as well. So this is a really powerful ability, really on any ship if you want to do a lot of damage. And on an escort, it's just absolutely beautiful. And you get more flight speed, which is more maneuverability. You get that maximum hull, which is important because you need it going in on a starship like this. And then, of course, the more damage. So the Iconian set is like ace. It's like the number one go-to thing here on an escort. And on the Theseus, it's working incredibly well. In the back, I got Delphic anti-proton turrets. Remember, again, crit chance and crit severity is what they improve. So I am really throwing out a lot of crit chance and crit severity with all these weapons. And these being turrets, when I forward fire, they fire with my 4 weapons. So everything's firing together forward, and I never lose any weapon damage. It's all firing forward and working great. So that's my main setup, and I got to tell you, it's extremely powerful. Alright, I've got the Trellium D plating as well. Gives me some damage resistance, hull capacity, shield capacity, and aux power. I have an EPS, but this is old. This is from, the days gone by. It's now time to replace this EPS with something from the new space station from the the fleet holding here, K-13. I need to get me one of those new consoles from that fleet holding to put here, because it does increase power transfer rate, but there's also things like improved armor penetration and stuff like that, which would just make this build even better. But I don't have that yet, so I apologize for not having that yet in this build. But that's what I will do later on when I'm able to, is I'm going to replace this EPS with one of those Xeno something or other. I can go look at it later on and see what it's actually called, but there are better consoles I can put in that engineering spot. I am using a temporal disentanglement suite. I like this one because, check this out, it increases your crit chance and crit severity based on your aux power. Trying to make a powerful ship, I want the most crit severity and chance that I can get. So again, it's another way to buff that. Plus, auxiliary power setting and shield capacity as well, which is just so welcomed on the ship because it really needs it. I've also got the Sustained Radiant Field. That's part of the Iconian Armaments set. I need that, of course, for the complete Radiant Armaments set. Altogether, this gives me a reinforced Radiant Field Projector, which is more hull capacity and temporary hit point bonus. And then the Radiant Hypercharge means my advanced Radiant Anti-Proton weapon fires an extremely powerful blast if the target is below 50% hull. So that means my dual cannon up here is doing extra blast basically when the target's below 50%. So that's pretty cool. More power, more DPS there. console. This is the console that comes with this starship. This is the Time Stream Rift Warhead. Again, a time travel based console for a temporal escort. And of course, having it on gives me more critical severity as well, plus directed energy damage. This does physical damage, area of effect hold, negative flight speed. It does to the foe 25,000, almost 26,000 physical damage, and ignores shields. Creates a temporal rift at your target for 15 seconds. Does physical damage every second, reduces their flight speed, and there's a chance to hold every second. So a really cool ability. This is called the Time Stream Rift Warhead, and I have that right here to fire off. So I'll be able to fire this off on the enemy, and you'll see what that does. I will do it separately just so you can see what the effect is, and then I'll use it in combat normally, and it really is a cool ability. And then, of course, you got 5 tactical console slots down here to max out with your energy type, which on this ship is anti-proton damage, and that just really maxes it all out. So as you can see, I think this is a great build. I love these Delphic anti-proton weapons. I'm really becoming a fan of the Delphic anti-protons. On an anti-proton build with the Iconian set, all of it together is incredibly powerful. So here are my stats. I am sitting at a stealth detection of 2340. My defense rating is 92. So that's what it is when I'm at full impulse. When I'm stopped, it of course will go down to 22. My power transfer rate is very good at 310%, so I honestly can get rid of this EPS and put in one of those Xeno consoles. My hull strength, this is the bad part. It's only 56,789. Like I said, this is no cruiser. It's not 100,000 hull. You're going to have some hull problems. You've got to watch it with your damage. You've got to get in and get out. Really got to watch it with your damage. Hull repair rate is 120% a minute. I mean, I even have some things in here that are improving my hull strength, and that's what it is. And then I also have things improving my shield strength. A couple of things actually you saw, and it's still only 12,884. So those are a bit of weak points. You just have to work around it. My defense is also about 23% on everything. So yeah, it's not a tank. It's not a cruiser. This is built to do damage. I've got an 81.9% critical severity. I would love that to be like 100%, but check out my chance. 20% critical chance. That means that I am going to be firing off crit severity shots a lot, and I love that. My maneuverability, though, through the roof. 42.1 degrees a second at impulse. Holy crap. As you can see, I can turn on a dime. This is me. This is just me turning. I'm not doing anything. There's no evasive maneuvers going on right now. This is just my regular turn. I can turn this thing in and out on a dime. I mean, it will just swerve all around these ships. I love the maneuverability on this thing. It is really, really fun to fly. It's a fun to fly ship. So that's what I'm liking. In terms of size, you can see it's small. Like there's the JJ Trek Vengeance. Very, very small compared to that. Here we go. Here's a Galaxy class down here. You can size this up with a Galaxy class. Ah, crap. They went away. Okay, you can't size it up with a Galaxy class. Never mind. There you go. You can kind of see it's small. Not huge. But it's big enough. Gets the job done. Just trying to give you all a size comparison so you can kind of see what it looks like. Here's a Vulcan ship. You can see it's actually a little bit smaller than the Vulcan ship even. Yeah, look at that. So it's not a tiny ship, but it is small, which is good because it's maneuverable and it's so powerful. Here's a JJ prize. See how the tight turns I can make? It's really cool. There you go. Kind of a size comparison with that ship. Yeah, I like this ship. This is really, 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 really fun to fly. Let me just show you some other of my abilities and powers before we go off into combat here, just so you know what I'm flying, you know how everything's set up right now. In terms of skills, I am using the Strategist as my secondary. So Strategist is my secondary specialization. This gives me extra 10% shield capacity, so that's what it's giving me. Not a whole lot there, but just some extra shield capacity. And then I'm also using Pilot as the primary on this one. And Pilot is giving me a 40% turn rate, which is really helping. Pilot is really good if you want to improve that turn rate, because when you max it all out, you get plus 40%. So that's really nice. Traits, I have the trait enabled here, designated target. Station things here. Remember, of course, this is just going to depend on your build and whatever you want to put in here. But I am using Focused Assault 2 so we can demonstrate the trait. I got Beta, Torpedo High Yield, Cannon Rapid Fire, Scatter Volley, Spread. I am using a Destabilizing Resonance Beam as well. I like this power a lot. It's pretty cool. I also have the Advanced Radiant Hypercharge. Your Advanced Radiant Anti-Proton Weapon fires an extremely powerful blast, so you do have to enable that, but when you do, it gives a more powerful blast to the enemy, so that's quite nice. Here's the Radiant Subatomic Pulse from the Iconian set. Here's the Destabilizing Resonance Beam, which does physical damage to the enemy. I do have Focused Frenzy because in my skills, in my space skills, I have a lot of tactical power here, and as you can see, I've got Focused Frenzy unlocked with the Frenzied Assault option. Also gain a stacking weapon damage bonus with each hit. So all these things put together give me a lot of damage. Here's a strategist. This is from the strategist thing when you max it out. This is diversionary tactics. Placate foes while not threatening, basically. Let me put it this way. This ship is a little bit hard to fly in the sense that I have so many powers that buff damage. And sometimes I forget to enable everything at once to buff all my damage, because there are so many things I can enable to buff my damage. For example, I can enable at the same time to give me all kinds of huge damage buffs. I can enable emergency power to weapons. I can enable Alpha, which gives me bonus all damage plus almost plus 50% bonus all damage. I can enable Radiant Subatomic Pulse, which gives me plus 33% all damage. I can enable Tactical Fleet 3, which gives me plus 40% bonus all damage. You see where this is going. There's so many things I can enable to give me more damage. I can also enable the Focused Assault. That gives you plus 15% bonus damage for 3 seconds. I can also enable Fire on My Mark. I can enable so many things at once here. That Focused Frenzy, I can enable that. Frenzied Assault. I mean, there's just so many things I can enable at once to buff my damage that it's ridiculous. And I mean, how can I possibly hit each button at the same time? I wish I could like map a button to several different buttons. You know what would be a cool feature in Star Trek Online? If you could make a customized button on your hotbar that's tied to several different buttons, so that when you hit it, it's like a macro and it enables all those features at once. Because if I did, I would have like the ultimate kill button, and it would enable Tactical Fleet at the same time as Radiant Subatomic Pulse, at the same time as Alpha, at the same time as Emergency Power to Weapons, at the same time as Focused Assault. I mean, it would just enable all the things that give me extra damage at the same time in one button. And then my first shot to the enemy would be just a death blow. It would kill them instantly. I wish there was a button like that. And that's what I'm talking about with this ship. I've got so many things that buff damage. There's no way I can hit every button that I need to hit before firing on the enemy, and I forget to hit things. So that's a bit of a problem, but also a bit of a good thing, because it does leave me with some other options to take out enemies along the way, not have to wait for the cooldown. But anyway, just so many things here to buff damage on this ship. And here is my weapon damage without buffing anything, by the way. This is just standard right now. 2733 anti-proton damage, 2186 DPS out of the Delphix. Wow. And this one does 2068 at DPS and 2586 anti-proton. And then the turrets do 1109 DPS and 924 anti-proton. And the torpedo, the radiant quadrant torpedo is doing 1000 DPS and 8128 kinetic damage. Now, if I buff everything, which I'll go ahead and do, I'll just have to wait for the cooldowns before we go into battle, but that's fine. If I buff everything at once, let's see what everything goes up to at max. Let's just do that. So we're at 2186 DPS. Here we go. I can't enable the other stuff right now, but I'm already up to 4418 DPS and 5523 anti-proton. I mean, holy crap, that's a lot of damage, guys. And that's not even all the little other things that I can enable too, like focused assault and other things. So yeah, that's a lot of damage, guys. That's like, it's just amazing when I enable everything at once. But that just shows you how awesome this ship can be in terms of doing a lot of damage. Well, now I gotta wait for the cooldowns before I can go into battle for you guys. But that is our next step, is now it's time to go into battle and to show off these abilities for you. I will fire off the Time Stream Rift Warhead, and we'll take a look at what it does individually. And then I will enable the Focused Assault, and we will kill an enemy and see if the Starship trait kicks in. And that will demonstrate those two abilities. And then otherwise, the only other thing really to show you is just how much damage this thing can do going in and just trying to kill as many enemies as possible. One thing I like to do is a lot of AoE damage when I go in, and I will use like Torpedo Spread and Cannon Scatter Volley with my damage buffed up, and I will go in and take out large groups of enemy real fast using that combination. And then for the bigger enemies, I'll save the Radiant Hypercharge and the Resonance Beam and the Time Stream Rift Warhead also for the bigger enemies after I take out all the small enemies with the AoE. So I've got a pretty good strategy with this ship, and it's just so powerful. So at this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to wait for all my things to cool down so that way I can use them in battle and I can actually show you what everything does with everything enabled. So stand by, and when we come back, we are going to go into battle, and I will show you all of these abilities. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to Japori. I am at this simple patrol for the main reason of demonstrating the abilities of the ship. We're going to do the Time Stream Rift Warhead, and then I'm going to demonstrate the Starship trait. That way you can see what those two things do, and I'm pretty much just going to do those two things here in this patrol. Then I'm going to go to like Argala and just destroy everything as efficiently as possible and show you how powerful the ship can be, and probably do a couple of other things as well, maybe an ISA, maybe a Borg patrol, maybe a Tholian patrol, Red Alert. We'll do those simple common things just so you can see what the ship can do. That's basically it at that point, to see how good it is in combat and all of that. So, you ready? Let's go. First thing I'll do is the time stream thing, and I'm not even going to go into battle here. I might have to fire on them to activate it. Let's see. Nope, here we go. I'm going to fire the time stream thing. There it goes. That's what it looks like. And that's what it does.
Target's shield
and it's doing what it says it does. And I'll just let that continue there.
Right shield's failing. Hull integrity below 75%.
See what I mean about this ship not being able to take damage very well? You really do have to watch out for this ship, because it has problems with not being able to tank damage very well, as you can definitely see. Alright, let's do the starship trait. Let's see if I do this, and then kill the ship. The trait should have been activated. I guess it did. I don't know if it has a... Yeah, it's enabled. I guess it doesn't have a very distinctive visual to it. But I did activate it. I'll try it again.
Hull integrity below 50%.
I'll try it again because it worked. I just don't know what the actual graphic looks like when it activates. But it did activate. But again, you don't really notice that it's doing anything when it does. I mean, specifically, it's recovering 20% max hull hit points and a bonus all damage, but you don't really see that. That's just something you might feel while you're playing, but I really don't feel those advantages anyway. Let's get rid of these small ships.
Target's shields have failed.
Let's just get rid of this whole group.
Target's shields have failed.
They're bugging me. I really need a big enemy to try this trait on. These enemies are too small. Let's go out. Let's go out, and let's just do a different patrol real quick. I'll do the Romulan one, so that I can fire off the focused assault on it and try the trait there. Designated target. It's just a little hard to see what it actually is doing when it does stuff. Karaya, is that the Romulan one? Let's see, I think so. So, we saw that the trait does activate. The problem is trying to see or generate or feel the benefit of that when it does. I don't see it, I don't feel it. It's there, but is it really doing a lot for me? Since you only have all damage for 3 seconds, probably not. That's pretty short. And I'm not sure what the graphic looks like when it enables. It's hard to tell with everything going on at once. There's so much chaos anyway, and so many other powers activating. It's hard to see that one activate. So I'm not too keen on the Starship trait, kind of feeling like it's pointless. Although I do like the time stream thing. You saw that. That Rift warhead was pretty cool looking. And of course now it's going to be slow loading. Why not? Alright, come on game, you can do it. Hate it when it does this. No idea why. There it goes. If this is the right one, let's see. Yes, it is. Good. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire off the focused assault on the D'Deridex.
These guys picked the wrong system.
And of course the Enterprise had to show up. I don't want it here, but oh well. Here it goes.
Warning.
Now let's destroy it and the trait should activate.
Target shield has failed.
Well, did it? It might be that green part. Maybe. Kind of looks like, almost like hazard emitters. Could that have been it? Might need to do it one more time to really find out.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
There should be another Mogai. There it is. But I need that thing to cool down first. I want to do this Mogai here and use it. Just need to let that cool down.
Warning.
Ow.
Ship is under attack.
Alright, here we go. Oh, it's almost dead. Oh. I didn't want the Enterprise there. What is it doing? Killing the ships. Stop killing my ships. I guess we'll do, oh, that's almost dead too. Dang, it's killing all the ships I want to use it on. Stop that. There's another Mogai. Let's do it.
Warning. Ship is under attack. Target's shield has failed.
Well, did it do it? No, it didn't activate that time. Was it on cooldown maybe? Crap. Well, this ain't working exactly like I want it to. There's another Mogai, but now it's on cooldown. Lovely. Let's let it cool down. It's only 20 seconds. And I will give it a third attempt. After that, I just don't know. I just don't know. They destroyed the Mogai. You stupid Enterprise. And now they're going to destroy the Warbird. I'm going to have nothing left to destroy. Okay, fine. You want it that way? Fine. Jeez. Guess we're just going to do a Warbird then.
Warning. Ship is under attack. Target shield has failed.
Did it do it? Yeah, it did it. It's just really hard to tell what the actual thing looks like, but it did it. Whatever. So hard to tell what it's actually doing. Let's just kill everything. How about that? That's a good idea, huh? There, everything's gone. Now that's what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about doing AoE and using that combo of my spreads and my scatter volleys and with my damage buffed up, that's what I'm talking about. Taking out a large group like that at once is just so much fun. So much fun. This ship's invisible. Where did it go? Got an invisible ship here.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
That was weird. Well, I did the best I could at trying to demonstrate the starship trait. What can I say? It's just not something that stands out very well. Simple as that. Now, the time stream warhead, that I like. That I like a lot. Let's go to our gala and let's just do stuff. Delta Quadrant, let's go and let's just take out everything as quickly and efficiently as possible and just show you how good this ship is in combat. That's what I want to do. I haven't even used Radiant Subatomic Field or tactical fleet yet to really buff my damage, or I did use alpha a couple times. So there's like so many more things I can do to improve my damage output, but I don't even need to. It's like so crazy. It's just a lot of damage. It's like that combination alone is good enough.
Target shields have failed.
I mean, that combination alone is good enough. I didn't even have to use radiant, subatomic, or tactical fleet right there, and I just destroyed those two easily. It's just pretty crazy. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Oh well. I'll go ahead and enable them though.
Ship is under
Heck, we'll
attack.
fire that off too. My extra barrage. There's that barrage.
Target shields have failed.
Everything is gone. Bye-bye.
Target shields have failed. Target shields have failed. Target shields have failed.
Killed it before the time stream warhead got there. Gone, 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 gone. Everybody's gone.
Target shields have failed.
Haven't even used the molecular deconstruction beam yet. Haven't even used molecular deconstruction yet. Haven't really needed to. Okay, last group. Oh, here you are. Let's use it now.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Oh, he's dead.
Target shields have failed.
And they're dead. That's simple. That's simple. Yeah. I mean, what can I say, guys? What can I say? This ship just owns everything. Owns everything. Let's go back to the beta quadrant, and then we will do all the other things. Let's go to beta quadrant. Okay, now let's sign up for... Let's do a Borg red alert first. Maybe that'll load quickly. Hey, yes, it did. Hopefully that'll engage quickly. Hey, and it did. Now, what you'll notice with the Borg is they have that ability to strip your shields. That will be pretty devastating for our ship. So, just got to keep an eye on staying alive here. Pretty simple so far. Let's see, my shields are gone.
From this time forward, your culture will adapt to service ours.
Target's shields have failed.
I guess it is the green. It's the green, like, hazard emitters that comes over the ship when that trait is enabled. That's about it. That's the graphics for it anyway. So that's what you know what to look for. Yeah, that just... the Borg ability just devastates my shields. And on this ship, they can... there's not much of them. See where this person's going.
Your defensive capabilities are unable to withstand us. Lower your shields and await assimilation.
Target's shields have failed.
Resistance detected. Unimatrix 0047. 7 of 10. Engaging now.
About ready to use my molecular deconstruction beam as well, so we'll do a lot of damage on the mothership here. Go ahead and enable everything.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Disarm your weapons. You will escort us to your own world, where we will begin assimilating your culture and technology.
And they're gone. Yeah. That thing is no threat anymore, that's for sure. That thing is no threat. So, as you can see, can do really good with the Borg. And they were 9 levels above me, too. Let's go do the Tholians, and then we'll end with an ISA. So, Tholian, red alert. Join queue, join selected, go. Oh, my things aren't cooled down, but oh well. I'll still do good without them. I don't often have to enable everything either, but when I do, let me tell you. Let me tell you. Enable the offensive configuration.
Target shields have failed.
not at a very good angle right there.
Target's shields have failed.
Well, I see what the problem is. I've got two huge giant ships on my butt. That could cause a problem.
4 shields failing. Hull integrity below 75%.
Oh, crap. Get me out of this web.
Warning. Ship. 4 shields failing. Rear shield failing. Target's shields have failed. Right shield failing.
Oops. Oh, wasn't watching. And they got me in the tractor beam. I was going in for the kill shot, but then no. Then no. Then I wasn't. Just gotta watch out with blowing up there.
Ship is under attack.
There you go. Easily run through that. Let's do an ISA. Now, of course, this will be a pug, so I'm not sure what we'll get. Unless somebody's running one out here, but I don't know. Haven't been watching the chat, so I don't know. Don't see anyone running anything, so... guess we will pug it. Infected the conduit. Let's do advanced, join, and... see what happens. Now, this is a pug, so you never know. This could go terribly good or terribly bad. You just never know what you're going to get. So, hopefully it'll be a good one. We'll see. Yeah, I am loving this ship. Absolutely loving this ship. I can do so much damage with this thing, and I think there's still a lot more potential left in it, too. This might take a minute to fill up here. Going kind of slow at the moment. So what I may do is pause the video here and come back when it starts, because there's no telling how long this is going to take. But right now, it seems to be taking a very long time. So that's what I'm going to do for you all, so you don't have to sit around and wait. I will pause, and I will come back when the STF starts. Okay, everybody, here we go. This is ISA, an advanced ISA run. Again, this is a pug, so no idea how this will turn out, but hopefully it'll be good. Hope for the best.
Shields failing.
So far it looks pretty good. There go my shields.
Failing.
No shields.
Resistance is futile.
Target's
that went down real fast. Oh crap, I didn't even see that I was dying there. Something got me real good. That's the only problem with this ship you really need to keep an eye on, is your health like that. In a real STF like this, it can eat your health real fast. And gone. So those STFs and things were not difficult by any stretch of the imagination, but they are common and people play those things a lot. Of course, there are a ton of other STFs and stuff I could demonstrate and play. It's really hard to get into a lot of those though these days. Not a lot of people are playing the other ones, and right now is the summer event, so like everybody's at RISA, and it's really hard to form a group right now. Otherwise, I would show you some more difficult STFs, maybe some of the competitive PvP, quote, PvP STFs. But really, that's just a matter of doing puzzles, not that. The new ones, of course, with the competitive ones, but those are mostly just puzzles, and I would just be showing you puzzles. So, you know, not really that interesting to show off the ship's abilities with those two STFs. So really, that's about all I can do to show you the abilities of the ship, but you guys get the idea. You see the powers and how it operates. So let's go back to the Sol system, and we'll take a look quickly at what customizations are available on the ship and the ship's bridge. I believe this does have a unique bridge, probably the Universe bridge, but let's double check that. Let's visit the bridge. Then we'll go look at customizations, and after that we will summarize our thoughts on this ship. If this will load faster. Or it could just take a long time to load. Because why not? Okay, there we go. So yes, this is the Universe bridge. This is what you see on the Enterprise J. Other ships of that nature, the Sagittarius, also look like this. We've already kind of been through everything in the last video, but you can access your account bank, your files, your duty officers. You can do your small craft there, and that's it. You really can't go anywhere. There's nowhere to go on the bridge. I like the windows up there. It's a nice big bridge, although I always feel that this is a small window considering the size of the bridge. I wish this window were from here to here. That's really the size of that the window should be. No reason why it shouldn't be that big. We're talking a very futuristic ship here. I like that up there. Otherwise, it needs a chair. Gotta have a chair. No captain's chair. Let's go back. Leave ship interior, and we'll go check out customizations. Okay. Earth space dock. Dock. Jump in the water, take a bath. Jump in the water, take a second bath. And on to customizations. So with this ship, it's based off the Perseus. So if you own the Perseus, you could fly it and look like that. This is the TOS version, Perseus here. And then we've got the Theseus. Longer than the Perseus, but not that much bigger. Looks very good. Of course, this is the default view. The window type, there's just one window type, so you can't concern yourself with that. You do have the universe bridge. And then the material is type 8 is the default material, but you can change it to other materials you might have. There's the TOS material, that's a 0. Then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, that's really bright. I mean, that is extremely bright. 7 and then 8. I like 8, of course. The default texture looks really good. Upgrade and veteran texture. So I like 8 a lot. Nothing you can do on the style except change it to Perseus or Theseus. Pattern, you can add a pattern and the color of the pattern, and that's it. So this really does not have that many modifications you can make to it other than the material or the pattern. However, one modification you can make, or 3 modifications you can make, is of course to the impulse engine, the deflector, and the shield graphic. I always like to put a unique shield graphic on my ship to change the visuals of the texture using a shield. And one of the shields that I extremely love the most in terms of the visual quality advantage, and I use this on a lot of my ships, is the Terran shield. This is the Terran Task Force covariant shield. So let me put this under visuals and just show you what that does. I'll put this under shields, and there you go. There's the visual with the Terran Task Force shield. I like this visual a lot better. And this is how I fly the ship. Let's just move away from all the other ships out here, get away from everybody, and we'll take a look at this. That to me looks a lot better than the original, although it does take away that kind of circuitry look, but I still like this shield a lot. Of course, you may like the original texture too, that's okay. This adds yellow nacelles, kind of cool looking, just a little bit different, but this is how I fly it, and this is also how I fly the Sagittarius, is with the Terran shield. I like this, I like the way this looks on the ship a lot. Makes it look darker, more menacing. It's just a different way to spice things up. And then I also change the impulse engines here as well. And I use the Omega impulse engines because they add kind of a fiery look to it. Like a fiery orange look to it in the back. And I think that looks really cool. So that's the visual that I play at right there with this ship. I think it's just a cool visual. It's also got a purple deflector with that Terran Task Force shield, which I think looks really cool on all the ships. So that is the visual that I go with. But of course, you can customize it to your heart's content, and that's one way to separate your ship from others, is to customize the deflector, the engines, and the shield with a different looking texture there. Well, everybody, that's going to conclude our review of the Theseus Class Temporal Escort. Just like the Sagittarius class, I give this thing an A, a solid A, out of an A, B, C, D, E, F, A, B, C, D, F scale. This definitely gets an A. I recommend this starship if you're looking for a nimble, maneuverable, powerful escort. That can do a lot of damage, and you can have a lot of fun with, and has a lot of flexibility in its bridge officer seating. Then the Theseus Escort is going to be a lot of fun for you. The only thing you'll have to worry about with this ship is the hull strength and the shield strength. You will be flying a paper escort. You will have to think about your defenses. You will have to get the defense up on this ship if you want to survive, and you will have to fly it in a way that you fly in, do damage, fly out, maneuver, move a lot. The more you move, the better. Don't stay in one spot. That sort of thing. So how you fly it will differ from other ships like cruisers and so forth. Just because it does get damaged quite easily. But the advantage is it can do a ton of damage, and has a lot of flexibility. But I think you can have fun with this ship if you're looking for an escort. So if you are looking for one, this would be a very, very good ship to own and fly, and I think you would be very happy with this ship. But now you've seen the abilities. Out of the abilities, I do not find the starship trait to be that enticing. That's the word. I do not find the trait to be that enticing. I do not feel a difference with or without the trait. I hardly know when the trait's activated when it is activated. So I don't really think the starship trait is worth spending the money on just for the trait. And it also relies on the fact that you use focused assault, and not everybody's going to be using focused assault. That is an ability you may not want to use on your ship, and if you don't use focused assault, well then the trait on this ship, the starship trait, is 100% useless. Now the console ability, however, the Time Stream Rift Warhead, I find that to be very cool. It does its job, it slows down the enemy, it does physical damage, has a lot of physical damage, 30,913. It's doing a lot of physical damage for me right now. But, well actually there are no buts. I like this ability a lot. So, I like the console ability, I just don't like the trait. I don't think the starship trait is that useful. It's not very practical. And that's my review on the two abilities of the ship. And then I do like having the molecular deconstruction beam, because that adds like an extra weapon to your ship without using up a weapon slot or something like that. So all the temporal ships have that. So that's another ability. Again, it does physical damage. So that's pretty cool too. So there you go, everybody. That's the Theseus class, and I'm at the end of the world, and this is also the end of the review. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.